I've always been curious on how does the preparation process go for commentary? Have you guys talked about this? I'm sure you have. Huh?
Not too often, I don't think. I don't think people ask us this question that much.
Yeah, actually, that's pretty rare.
Because to be honest with you, like, preparation is just like walk into the venue and sit down.
It depends on how big the event is. Because if it's something smaller, we'll basically do that. We'll show up. For Capcom Cup, I tried to get a lot of info on players. Like I was talking with you about a couple of them, right? Yeah. Trying to get backstories and...
Yeah, but there's like a lot of majors.
Things to talk about, yeah, but usually we don't do that. Usually we don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Typically we'll just show up. When it comes to maybe like finals day, once we know who's going to be in the top 8 or top 16 or something, maybe then we'll do a little bit more research and try to have something to say. Or like look into how the brackets went, or
do you go to like the local guy in the scene to like get
for sure? If there's players we don't know, for sure.
I mean, one of the cool things, honestly, though, is because of Capcom Pro Tour, like we're commentating at least once a month.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it kind of sustains itself. You know what I mean?
Sure.
You always remember what happened at that last event, and you can talk about it there. And you know, I mean, dude, how many times have we seen like Bonchan and these guys play now? And then every time. We did 2 years in a row of those World Warriors of Capcom Cup where, you know, we're like, Bonchan is really good at reads.
No, but you
so
know, like, okay, so sorry to cut you off, but like, I feel that it should be like the player's responsibility, the player themselves, to kind of like put themselves out there a little bit more. I mean, if the player is like very in tune with how the FGC can grow, which is a lot of players really aren't, to be honest, but, you know, like... And also, it's our responsibility to like go up to them and ask them like more original questions, not just. I mean,
I
hear you.
One of the things that I do to sort of prep, you know, I will just talk with a lot of players in casual conversation.
Yeah.
And it's not even like I'm trying to sneak information. I'm literally just talking to them, just because it's just fun to talk to all the fighting game players.
Yeah.
And every time they say stuff, I then talk about it a lot of the times on stream. Like I remember at Canada Cup, I talked with Ryan Hart for this really long period of time, and a bunch of stuff he said, I was like, oh, I'll just talk about this on stream because, you know, it's good information.
Sure,
you know?
I do the same thing.
Yeah, so I mean that's probably the you know, most research that I'll do is a lot of times I'll just talk to players and see how they feel that weekend and kind of, you know, not grill them, but just like try to dig into...
Tell me something now.
I know, right?
Give me something, okay?
Just dig into how they're feeling and what their thoughts are in the current situation and such. Like, the one thing I asked Ryan Hart at Canada was, you know, with all of Bonchan's success, is that what kind of helped inspire him to stick with Sagat? Because you remember how much he was like, this character sucks now, like, I can't use this character anymore for the longest of time. Then towards the end of the year, that's all he was playing. So, you know, I talked to him about that, and he was like, yeah, for sure, Bonchan helps me, you know, keeps me, you know, happy about, I mean, like, it makes me believe that he can win all these tournaments and stuff like that, so.
Yeah. I would like to do more research, but it's typically not very practical because I don't know who's going to go to every tournament. And like we'll hear through the grapevine that maybe like X or Y player is going to come, and then maybe if they are, I'll look into something for them. But typically we just find out who's there like the day of. I would love to know what the pools are like 3 or 4 days in advance, and then be like, all right, here's the interesting matches on all potential pools.
Maybe it could be just like a new standard, you know, like set the standard.
But that info is just not there.
Yeah,
like, it's just not available.
So tournament organizers could now realize that.
But see, the thing about it is a lot of them do on-site registration. So the one event that we definitely do that for is Evo, because there's no, you know, there's basically no on-site registration. So we have the pools. We've already mapped out who's in every pool and who to watch in all the pools.
Do most top players, not most, but do some top players not sign up on time, like, and therefore they sign up, you know, the day of?
Some definitely do that. Yeah,
for a lot of events.
Like a lot of majors are like that.
But not international players though, right?
Typically not, but there have been some times when like all of a sudden Ryan Hart's there, or like all of a sudden Shen is there.
Yeah,
that definitely has happened. It's not as common though, for sure. But for the people who are, you know, for the other international players, I just don't know that they're there. that they're going to be there. I would love to know. I just
it's
like
funny because there's sometimes
out.
you'll hear us on commentary when we're starting the day and just kind of talking, and before the first match is on, I'll be like, "Oh, hey, look, we see this person walking in the audience, whatever," and it sounds like Phil. No, it's literally that's the first time I saw them there that weekend, and I'm like, "Oh, dude, K-Brad's here. Oh, you know, this person showed up." So, yeah.
I think there's a lot of stuff that could be improved if we were able to do more research. I just think commentary could be better, and we would be able to fill time better. And
I mean, the more information you guys have, you know.
I mean, one of the hard things is, I definitely shout outs to One Frame Link. Like, he's been trying to help us with stats a lot during commentary. So he'll have all these great information sheets and all these like interactive like things that we can use to be like, oh, hey, look, these two guys' record are against each other. The problem is we're always watching matches and talking, so it's really hard for us to go and do the research and look for that.
If you were to like highlight some stuff, you might be able to use it or might not, you know.
Right. If there was like an earpiece in our ear that was like, hey, PS, whatever, here's some info, that's not practical, right? It's like hard to expect that.
I mean, the way that, you know, traditional sports, A-sports as I call them, athletic sports, right? So
A-sports.
A-sports.
Terrible.
You know,
James Chen.
You know,
James Chen.
Whenever they just have stat runners, right? They just go and hand them sheets of paper like, here's stats.
That's
it's somebody else's job to come up with the interesting tidbit, you know, for the commentators, because they it's hard to do two things at once. And sometimes when you hear us commentate, like, one of us will go silent for this long chunk of time, and it's because we're looking up frame data on our phone or something like that. So
at Capcom Cup, I wanted to have all of this stuff there, like all the things that I asked you about players, and I talked with many other people and many of the players themselves, and I got all this info, and I had like extensive notes.
How can you remember all of it?
No, I couldn't though. Yeah. So I needed to have my computer with me, where I had everything written out. But the way that Capcom Cup was set out, we couldn't bring the tablet onto the stage.
How dare you?
They just wouldn't. It was like not part of it. So the stage manager wouldn't have it. So I had to remember some stuff, and you know, unfortunately, I forgot a bunch of things. Like when a couple of players came up, I just didn't say that much about them, and it wasn't that like I didn't want to. It's just I couldn't remember, or if it was like when it was like Justin versus Tompi. Okay. And I've known Justin for a long time, and I can talk about him for a long time. Tompi, I don't know very well, so I have like these notes that I have prepared that I wanted to say things about from, but they're backstage, so I couldn't do that. So that definitely could have been better.
You can bring your phone, right? I'm just...
No, our phones had to be off.
Yeah, our phones are off.
Wow.
And you know, and that's the worst part about it too, is
because
like David said, we know Justin, right? And so we get a lot of comments like, you guys are totally biased to Justin because it's all you talked about ahead of time. I would have loved to have talked about Tom P, right? But we didn't have all of our information, and we just don't know him as well. So.
Yeah, I mean, that's really interesting. I'm sure a lot of people haven't even thought about that before. I expect you guys to be walking encyclopedias and everything.
Yeah, I mean, you know, ultimately it's a hobby, and it's not my job, you know.
Right.
Like, I mean, well, to be fair, it's a job, but it's not my main job. So it's hard to spend all the time to study up and remember everything about players when, you know, I have like stuff to do. Yeah. So it definitely could improve.
But I mean, even again, if we go talk about traditional sports, right? They literally have booklets on every player, like pronunciation guides, background, what college they were in, and everything like that. Because I remember that there was a Chinese player who ended up on the Lakers, and they kept pronouncing his name wrong. And I actually wrote a letter to the LA Times guy, you know, talking about it, and he actually said that's literally how they tell you to pronounce it in the pronunciation guide that they give every commentator.
They just got it wrong.
Yeah, they just. I mean, it's kind of like I forgot there was another player that did that in the FGC that I just feel like everyone just mispronounces the name, but whatever, because it's just easier that way for people to say, you know. And
still don't know how to pronounce Xian's name.
I asked Xian actually. He said Xian.
Xian.
I always called him Xian.
Yeah.
Because that's how you pronounce it from a Pinyin Chinese translation, but he told me it's Xian. So now I'm trying to be better about it and call him Xian. So, but yeah, I mean,
at least we're not saying Nego and
Nemo.
It's Nemo, right?
It's Nemo.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just the thing, right? A lot of times, even the professional commentators for sports, they don't have to memorize all that stuff. That information is all given to them. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh, he played this many years at this college and he did all this stuff.
Honestly, that's not something that we can expect.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So,
but at the same time,
I still think that we have to get better.
Oh yeah.
Even though we can't expect that kind of stuff, but
I mean, I guess the point is that a lot of people expect that kind of stuff from commentators to know everybody, but even in professional, they don't. You know what I mean? It sounds that way. You get all this help from a lot of other people, and so it's hard for us to be at that level because we literally have to. And that's why I end up, because I try, and for a long time I would say false information constantly. I'm like, oh, I think this player's from blah, and people are texting, like
now
tweeting
everyone
me
knows
like,
it's by design.
Yeah. So I mean, it was because I'm like trying to remember the best that I can, and I just remember wrong, right? And so nowadays I don't say it as much. I don't say a lot of things, or if I do, I'm always like, I think he's from blah, but I'm not sure. Twitter, let me know, that kind of situation.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if this is a good analogy or not, but it's like for example, Street Fighter 5. Like, Capcom makes the game, right? And then people criticize the game because it's easy to do that. I mean, they're not making the game, right? So you guys are commentating, and like no one's gonna say that job's easy, especially if they've tried it. So I mean, when I do commentary, I'll make mistakes too, and for sure someone's gonna point it out immediately. Like, how dare you be incorrect about something? People need to be a little bit more understanding about that.
It's also the tough part is we literally commentate for whole days.
Yeah.
Like, it's fun. I read an article that was talking about esports commentators and saying that these guys are commentating longer than most traditional sports commentators.
Yeah, it's pretty insane.
It's like for a whole weekend long and such like that. So during the course of that weekend, dude, you're going to say like 50 things that are incorrect. You can't help it. 1, you're tired. 2, you get fatigued. And 3, it's just hard to remember everything. So I'm not trying to make excuses, for my mistakes or anything like that. I shouldn't be making those mistakes.
Yeah.
But, that's why, like I said, I've taken that to note. A lot of people are like, James, you're always wrong. You're always wrong about all this information. So nowadays, I do ask people on Twitter, like, can you give me this information? I want to make sure, or I'm always like, I think it's this, but I could be wrong.
Do you have like Okay, so there is this Sakura player in Japan, and he like really loves your commentary. He also speaks English.
Oh, okay, okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's weird how there's like he went to some it's a Michigan-based college in Japan, random. Yeah.
Like Michigan?
Like University of Michigan?
I don't know, something to do with Michigan, and it's in Tokyo.
That's weird.
And he goes there. And that's how you learn English. Anyway, yeah, he like loves your commentary.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if you hear that enough, but you should, because it's easy to hear the hate all the time.
Yeah.